Thang. Yeah, well, sort of new used. Yeah, I had it about a month. F-150, one owner, high mileage, but I've already put 5,000 miles on it, no problem. I love this thing, man. I'll probably get a newer one. The 2021, you can put the seats all the way back. Doesn't get the greatest gas mileage, but I really like it. Got a lot of room. Little bed, 5-foot bed, crew cab. How you been doing? Sort of. I had an oil line bust, then I had a lifter eventually making noise. And you got to replace, you can't adjust the lifters on those, so it's sitting up lifter noise. I used it locally. Had 456,000 miles. It's just like thousands of hours of idling. So I'm still undecided if I'm going to bring it down here or not. Oh, you're talking about that Toyota? Yeah. Same thing happened to that. Oil line broke, had a lifter noise. I got about another 10,000 miles out of it, and then it started doing weird shit, so I got rid of it. Be kicking it, you know what I'm saying? it's 71 now. Yeah, we're in full summer mode now. All the trees have bloomed out. Had like crazy pollen for like 6 weeks. Yeah, horse trailer, yep. So this should be the high today, 72. So probably a good day to take some horses someplace. Good. How you doing? How you been? Man, if I take a little bit of that ZQL, just like maybe a half teaspoon, it causes me to sleep like so long. Do your thing. I lost my damn key fob. One of the other one's messed up. I got some spares made, so I'm alright, but I didn't realize you can't lock the doors with the automatic lock. You gotta go around and lock them individually. It's a pain in the ass. Thang. Bees are doing great. I might get into bees big time. I've been thinking about it. I like doing it. But I don't want to get involved in commercial beekeeping. Checked out, barbecue guys. I went to Sconyers, which absolutely sucks. I mean, I don't leave bad reviews for anybody unless it's like off the charts. But that Sconyers, like the president goes there when he's in town. He must think he's getting poisoned. That's some of the worst barbecue I've ever had in my life. Sconyers. Yeah, absolutely terrible. I bet it almost seems frozen and reheated. And this other slop they give you on a plate that they call some kind of hash. It's just terrible. It tastes like shit. I mean, really, the whole meal is terrible and busy as hell. It's a nice facility. It reminds you like Busch Gardens when you go in there. But that food is absolutely terrible. It just goes to show you. I know a couple other bad places too. Yeah, it is, man. I never put that in a review just because, maybe it's my taste buds, right? But I've seen that happen a few places where they'll just be busy as hell. Like if you look at Franklin Barbecue in Austin, Texas, that guy knows what he's doing. I mean, I think that's probably excellent barbecue. He uses prime cuts. It's surprising to me that he can do it on such a grand scale. They do almost $36 million a year in sales, and they're only open 4 hours a day, 4 or 5 hours. But that's sconiers. I'd love to know how they make that, because I didn't see any smoke anywhere, and I just think they must make an absolute fortune. And if you look at the negative reviews there, I mean, they kind of jive with what I thought. So I'm not any expert, but I thought it was terrible barbecue. I got their brisket plate. I didn't even eat all of it, and I was starving. Yeah, it's a mystery. It's not the first place. I can't figure it out. The best brisket I've had that I bought from a restaurant is in Madison. I've been cutting down on my red meat a little bit. I'm going to do a brisket Monday. I also cut out those lattes. I am feeling better, and I don't know if that's got anything to do with it or not, but I do feel better, and even if it's coincidental, I mean, it's not that big a deal. I don't get a latte. I've just been drinking black coffee. Maybe something that I don't think I'm lactose intolerant. It could have nothing to do with it. You know how it is when you're not feeling good? You just don't really know. Like, you know, you're trying different things. Shit, I don't know. Drinking more water. Hey, Penny, how you doing? Yep, same to you. So it's hard to say. I think I'm going to get a good order of these shrimp tacos today at this place. Really good. I got a phone charger messing up on my new phone already. I woke up today and there was no charge on my phone. I thought it was the cord. So I'm going to get another. I got a million USB to C's. But I don't have any C to C's. Good, Penny. I'll get your rocks out one of these days. I don't have a complete full box yet. Did you ever end up polishing any rocks? Bees are doing great. I mean, you know, I'm in a different environment, and usually when I was setting up bees in Michigan, it'd be like now or early May, and it was always like cool, and I never saw bees like get going like this before in my life. They are absolutely killing it. That hive looked like it's been sitting there for 20 years. Now it'll be one more day around approximately that those workers will chew through that candy wafer and let that queen out. You know, it's weird. I was into beekeeping pretty big time at one time, and you know, you like do this, and you're around people, and you go to seminars and lectures, and you go to other beekeepers, and you think you know, have a pretty good handle on it. And then I bought this book. I got it with me now. I'm actually going to read some when I get a coffee. And they talked about when it gets cold, bees crawling into the chambers next to the pupae and keeping it warm. I'd never read that before. I'd never heard of that before. And it also talked about the chance of a queen not being accepted in a set of package bees. You know, the queen's in her own little cage, and I've never heard of, I heard of it before, and I'd read it, but this didn't give any numbers, but it talked like, I made the inference that it happened more than 1%, which was surprising. And Tribbles mentioned that in the question she had. I mean, I hope that doesn't happen, but I don't worry about shit like I used to. Whatever happens, happens. I mean, it's a beehive. I'm just doing it for fun. If it works, that's great. If it doesn't, screw it. But I'm thinking about setting up some different hives, and thinking about getting some leaf cutter bees. You know, there's plenty of bees out there that do plenty of pollination that don't produce honey. I'm not really into it for the honey. I'm more into it for, I'll tell you, sitting on the porch and just watching those bees coming in and out of that hive is super relaxing to me. And then with a good shot, a good whiskey, it's even more relaxing. if you know a little bit about bees, you know they approach the hive from way up and then they descend, they dive down. So you could be like 2 feet away from the entrance, and you're not walking through them. They're coming down and descending. I'm not saying you're never going to see one flying around, but not very much. I mean, you can sit right next to the hive and watch them. They don't care. You'll get a bee come check you out once in a while, but they're not going to come over and sting you. I have been with people before. It's happened to me twice. I know a big commercial beekeeper down in Illinois, south of Chicago. They had like 2,900 hives. You know, high-lows, storage houses, all that stuff. And I'd taken people over there to show them the facility a couple times. And I've seen bees just flying inside a warehouse that are kind of like lost. You know, they were outside the hive when they moved it. Just come over and start stinging them. And I read in this same book that I referenced that they said it's people's sweat. But I'd read in other things that it was like the cologne or perfume they were wearing. So I'm not really sure. My opinion on bees, which of course is worthless, because I've been around them a lot. They claim they're nearsighted, which makes sense, you know, when they're doing things. But this would, same thing I do with the vultures. Like I don't know that any of this is true, but it seems to me there's a pretty good argument that the bees are busy in the spring, particularly a new set of package bees like these. They're upset, they were knocked out of a box, they're familiarizing themselves with a new home, they're making flights so they can return back to the hive, blah, blah, blah. And they want to get going. They want to create a working hive as soon as possible, even before the queen is out of the cage. So they got a lot of shit going on. They don't have any honey, they don't have any babies. They really have nothing to protect. I mean, it's an interesting organism. They are balls out at getting things established. And it seems to me like they're just not paying attention to anything because there's really nothing to protect. And you can go in those hives right now in just a pair of shorts and shirt. Now, I'm not recommending this. And look around, they don't seem to care. Where you usually get stung is when you're putting the supers back on top and you're pinching their legs or something like that. That's why you have a real soft bristle brush to like brush them off. But later on, as the hive builds up, they've got something to protect, like offspring and an egg-laying queen and honey. That's not quite the same. You take that top off, and there's 50 bees in a half a second stinging your face. And I'll tell you another thing about bees, too. If you're out there and you're in your regular clothes, and you go in there, they will sting the holy hell out of you. They'll be everywhere. But when you have a bee suit on, I mean, I don't think that they recognize it's a bee suit, but I think they know that I'm not wasting my time trying to sting anything here. And they don't. They just crawl around trying to find a crack in the suit, and they come in there and sting you that way. It's weird. Got some nice thunder and lightning last night. I'm gonna get my GoPros out and start using them. I was bummed out because my new GoPro got scratched up. Just took the fun out of it a little bit. Be kicking it, know what I'm saying? Oh, cool, Penny. Yeah, we'll do you good to go. Oh, that's cool. Ask if you're talking to your neighbors, ask them what kind of bees they have out there. I think you've got those killer bees down there in Texas. They're hell of a honey producers, big time. But they're more aggressive. This guy was telling me when I picked up these bees, some dumbass brought some of those up from Texas into Georgia, and they were wreaking all sorts of havoc. The state came in and killed them all. But I do know, I've read about them before, they're ass kicker honey producers. You know, everything's like that. The crazy women, the best sex. It's not like the ones that are the best wives. The bees that can kill you, make more honey than anything else. Life's like that. You think that's Satan getting in there and messing with those bees? Penny, making it attractive? Greed, coveting. And then you get some, and then your world's upside down. It kills your dog. Any story that I've read about bees, there is a guy that got killed near me, but that was bumblebees when I was living in Michigan, which I believe they can sting you as much as they want. Any story that I've read of bees killing an animal, it was on a chain. Couldn't get away. Chained to a doghouse or something. I don't even see dogs on chains anymore. I don't even know if it's legal. Oh yeah, you should do beekeeping. You'd like it, Penny. I think you'd really like it. I looked at other things. I was interested in maggots and leeches. I looked at. I don't want to do anything. There's a hellbender salamander, but I think it's on the CITES list, which is an endangered species. I'm interested in like. Breeding something to bring it back. I'm not interested in selling anything. I don't want to sell bees to people that are going to use it commercially. Oh wow. And really, when I don't want to keep birds in cages. I don't want to like farm anything and kill it. So I've got, bees. We're not even taking any honey. We're just like watching them. I'm still not convinced that bees make excess honey. I think that's another rumor that that beekeeping got out there and then fortified it with constant bullshit. I mean, nature just doesn't work that way. I don't believe it. I think which is why they replaced the honey they made with high fructose corn syrup. You just gotta be careful what sources you reference. There's a book, I was looking at bee books last night on the internet, and here this guy wrote a book on protect our native bees in North America. We don't have native bees in North America. Honeybees he was talking about. They're not native. They're from Italy. They didn't even get to the United States till like 1840. They're not indigenous. Yeah, I think you'd really like it, Patty. I think you'd like it. I don't really like honey, to tell you the truth. I mean, I'd take a little dab of it here and there, but not like you'd think. I had so much honey at one time, I would take these bees to like organic orchards that I get paid to take them to. And there was one time I had 3 55-gallon barrels of honey. I gave it all away. Yeah, I don't really believe in that. But, like the placebo, I don't find any solid science-based evidence that local honey does a damn thing for your allergies. If you think it does, good for you. but I don't think there's any science to back that up. I think it's a bunch of bullshit. I mean, I've been to lots of these honey things, and some of the stories these people tell, I have a hard time keeping a straight face. If your allergies become bad, your nasal passages, your lungs are inflamed, you need a shot of prednisone, not local honey. Use Claritin D, not local honey. It's another one of these pie-in-the-sky theories. It's like supplements. They're not regulated. You don't know what you're getting. You don't know what else is in them, blah, blah, blah. I'm not saying that science hasn't broke it off my ass a couple times, but I'm going with science. I feel the same thing about natural. Bunch of bullshit. Going natural. Talk to a family internal medicine guy someplace and ask him how the all-natural people did. They lived long because they had good genes, not because they ate a handful of sunflower seeds every morning. They didn't smoke and they weren't heavy drinkers, and they watched their saturated fat. It wasn't all natural. I mean, it's your life, you can do what you want. Same with COVID. All these people that went natural, that were high risk, they're dead now. They didn't want to get injected with a poison by the government. Yeah, okay. Never got off a ventilator. Deader than a doornail. But the placebo effect is very strong. As a matter of fact, I never followed up on the study, but a few years ago, you could probably Google it. Harvard was coming up with a study. Usually it's a double-blind study. The doctor doesn't know what he's giving you, and the patient doesn't know what he's getting. You know, you keep it as good as you can. But Harvard was actually there's really a lot of good books on the placebo effect. Harvard was doing a study where they were telling people this is a placebo, and it still had positive effects. It's crazy, I know. I mean, there's a certain intellect in people and their belief systems. You know, and the variations with personalities, like, and sometimes it's flawed regarding accurate, verified science. You know what I mean? Like, Penny, I know you're religious. I'm not knocking this. But like walking on water, speaking in tongues, burning bushes, turning water into wine. I mean, that's a stretch. I'll caught fish, but it isn't what it used to be. Look at the PCB traces in a lot of these fish up where Sheena lives. Now you can logically argue is farm raised better than wild caught. You look at the Huron River where I grew up, they have placarded all the parks where people fish, telling you, do not eat these fish. Do not. They're not telling you to just eat a couple of them, eat less, stay away from bottom feeders, blah, blah, blah. They're telling you to do not eat them. Why? PCBs, heavy metals, benzenes. The way the world is now, it's just, I mean, this COVID thing too. I had friends of mine that are going out of Traverse City to some kind of sailing thing in the Virgin Islands or something. I told them, man, I hope you wear a mask. And they were surprised that I'd tell them that. I mean, honestly, I can one of these crazy viruses. How you doing? Oh, they do put up. Oh, they do. They do that. They don't. Uh, Stuff like that. They don't. Seriously. And I told them, I'm tired. When I was at the helicopter convention, didn't upload. They said I reached my daily limit. I never had a daily. If I call up and say, hey, I want to do a video, well, I can't call up, email them. I want to do a video of this. They won't. They'll say, well, we can't tell you if that's okay or not. It's like, oh, really? It's a weird company, man. Can you hear me? Hey, Mary, can you hear me? Crazy. It's not normal.